that sometimes it feels like these guys from Blank are the individually skilled players who can come out and win the day. So we're on to Hanamura. This is a pick by Blank. Funnily enough, this is the same map they lost to Kanga Esports at the start of the season. We're a very, very long way past now, but I always like to throw it into that one. AVRL and Pixie, look, I don't know. I still think Masterminds can prove themselves stronger, but Blank, they're coming hard.
One thing both teams can share in this matchup is they're both victims of that one map lost to Kanga. Right now, somebody's got to walk away with this match win.
Brothers. I like to think as well that that sort of extra team play that's been coming out of Blank is a result of their weak scrimming the other Blank roster. I like to think that's maybe one of the things they were able to learn, but I mean, all bets are off now, right? They've both had that same break, and we're tied 1-1. It's Joyboy the first casualty, once again, traded out by Unter now, who was not too far away from a Coalescence, which could have been a key tool to close out a fight here for Blank. Going to have to find some other way to do it now, as again, they look to just stay set up on the point. They have a third. They've been pushed back a little bit, but they're looking for a way that they can unlock Micro and Sign to get them around on the flank.
It's so important for Masterminds to get their backs off against the wall and now back onto the point to contest Blank Blue directly. First of all, they did stop that tick from going through the second one, but now they're going to start picking up kills.
Here it is, though. This is what gives Sign the space to start moving around the backside, but unfortunately, the quick dive from Masterminds, as much as it gave Sign that window to kind of sneak on through, it was actually well enough executed by Masterminds that they've got these quick conversion kills. Sign did not get enough time to play with.
And now Blank coming up onto Ultimate, so do Masterminds. GC, you're in a state of the game right now where both teams are going to have weapons, both teams have resources. This next fight could get very bloody here, and Blank, they have 2 minutes 35 to work with, one tick already underway.
This is at least theoretically very doable for Blank, but we'd like to have seen something a little bit
early
quicker.
barrier.
Queue it out with a sound barrier. This is very classic out of Frogger, as they just want to get a quick conversion to Color Hex with a Dragon Blade. No conversion just yet, only just getting Adam, who has not quite reset the mech, and off the rest of that, yeah, wow, Frogger does get one back, but they've already taken out the key members. Sign, though, he is not done, and as long as Under's got that Coalescence, they're going to at least force more ultimates out of Masterminds, if not even get more kills. Cap a third. Plus, remember, Blank spawns are closer. Micro is going to be rejoining the fight, along with those two tanks that died early on. This gives Blank a real second win. Joyboy comes in with the Primal Rage. He's going to be what has to buy time for the rest of Masterminds to truly rejoin, because here comes Micro with his tank lineup. It buys a second turn. They might even not have to commit ultimates here.
Very important that Blank Blue actually, or rather for Masterminds, to force the Pulse Bomb out of Sign as well. It's a big job for Masterminds. If they're going to lose the point, they're going to get ults out, and they did get a play. It doesn't matter now that Cantus and Taki died. This is a very, very colorful play from Micro. Which is ironic because Color Hex on the other side, but they now do not have the ultimates. Masterminds, despite losing that, got 2 DPS ultimates. I think that's worth.
I was going to say, is that a colorful play, because it looks like something that Color Hex would do. Caught both those supports stuck in a corner. Also note, Kiki didn't have his mech through most of that fight, and the moment he got back in it, he was popped back out. But now here Blank are trying to get the snowball. Masterminds are kind of blade dry here. They're relying on a stall from Kiki, maybe get something out of Color Hex, but Unter with this Coalescence, going to buy them a lot of time and space on the point. Nothing quite out here from Kiki as Blank starting to rotate into some ultimate score. Ooh, saved by the skin of his teeth thanks to Frogger's sound barriers. They're looking to get the conversion, trying to close out on Joyboy. But yeah, this is the ultimate from Color Hex. Goes in deep, doesn't get anything, gets picked off, but in that time he was chasing down Frogger. The tanks on the front line did go down. They don't have one anymore, and nowhere to res one back in or anything like that. I think Blank actually have to accept that they probably can't win it from here. Everything beyond this is just throwing ultimate charge at the wall.
At the same time, though, they're forcing ultimates out of Masterminds GC. We're seeing the opposite now of what we saw onto A, and the kills still coming out. Sign now even gets one himself. Blank Blue, they might just cap this one out still again.
I mean, I need to wash my mouth. That was so bright. I've been caught alive. Gob was able to rejoin the fight and then die a second time, and in that time, Blank have been able to continue to get kills, and this time I think they've tipped the scales, maybe even enough to get that third at last. Joyboy at Primal Rage about to run out. Color Hex not safe enough to re-enter, and Blank have re-established ground control off the defenders, who should have the advantage in that situation. This is mind-boggling. Adam, the sole tank here, is getting so much work done as this D.Va, keeping the team in this. The unfortunate thing is they have yet to get point progress for it.
And now another barrier just as the tanks were low. Second time we've seen Frogger bail out his tanks out of this fight, and it's working. Blank Blue now collect Joy Boy yet again.
That's the one.
Joy Boy's been coming out of spawn, dying, coming out of spawn, dying again. Blank Blue finally got the 2 ticks.
That's the last ditch there from Kiki, but it didn't even quite close out on Adam's mech. It's going to be getting back in the mech and throwing out a touch of extra damage that does it, but once again they've removed Blank's tanks from the situation. Colorhex, second time he's not really got anything with that Dragon Blade.
This is not over.
Yeah, it's definitely not over. Blank, I mean, it worked last time they were in the situation to stay in the fight. They might as well do it again. This time, though, Micro a little bit lower, has to back out. Syme did get some nice picks, but Micro's going to go down there. This time, Blank do have to back off, but not until they had secured themselves 2 whole thirds in a fight where I was not expecting them to even get one.
And finally get a little bit of a breather as well. Blank Blue do complete this map. Frog is probably going to be the MVP there. You saw 2 clutch sound barriers, well timed, saving the tanks both times as well, getting himself 2 kills in the middle of that fight as well as the Lucio player for the team.
I've never seen a team wrest control of the point back from the defenders at a numbers disadvantage like that. At least not in Australian Contenders. That is something else. And yeah, welcome to Blank indeed. Unfortunately, those signed going to be dropped there. I don't mean from the team, I just mean he's dead. God, though, popping out the Primal Rage. Once again, they're not done here. Colorhex is low. It means he can't really enter this fight. They do lose Adam's mech, but they just, if they can keep Unta alive, if they can not let Joyboy get too much done on this back line, but it's going to be a tough ask. And if nothing else, it is going to draw the fight off the point. But once again, though, sound barrier here from Frogger. Going to let them re-enter. Looking to pop out Kiki. Need to get Candace before this ultimate. He's got him! And that's Kiki down. Can't remech. Oh, nice sleep on the Micro. He may just lose his life, but he may not because there's no one left to kill him aside from Taki, who's only just getting back onto the point now. Another coalescence from Unta. How many times will this man bookend fights with it, open with it, close with it, and it's looking like it could well be a closeout here. Blank still getting the kills through, still keeping control of the ground in this game.
It's Colorhex now, he's going to be the hero, he can't be. Adam shuts him down, and now Blank Blue, they still have members, but they are losing those members right now. Masterminds just trying to get back onto the cap. They finally do have enough members to secure this. Maybe.
Finally! I think it may just be the one here. Unta is now dead. God went down. You can already see Blank calling it. They're like, all right, let's just back off. This isn't the one. But man, how many times are we going to have that happen there? Blank getting to stay in the fight, getting so much out of their DPSs that it doesn't matter that half the time they're fighting with only half of their tank and support squad.
And I gotta say, the support squad in particular for Masterminds, you saw right then the fight looked like it was nearly over. Blank Blue nearly camped. Cantus comes out, Transcendence right at the correct time. Taki as well, the sleep dart onto Micro. It did not shut down the early kills from Micro, but it stopped the further kills. Taki himself could have gone down. That might have been a game changer, but Taki shut him down.
Truly it was. Yuki now trying to harass the back line. They have actually got Blank quite low here before the fight breaks out. Adam's in trouble. I think he's going to get demexed here. Indeed he is. Oh, not quite. It's a shame too. I mean, he wouldn't have had a way to reset it, but it may just not matter. They got the rest of the kills. Blank, they had to just fully reset from this.
Blank don't have too much time to waste here either. Frogger dies slightly later. God dies even a little bit later. And you're right about Unta. That one is the one that's really going to hurt Blank Blue. The 3 late deaths when you're now under 30 seconds. Yes, you are close to capping. You're 1/3 away. But you need a little bit more. When Blank Blue have been behind, they have been able to claw themselves back in. Now, though, they're fighting into neutral territory, about to come up some ults, the same ones that Masterminds have, though.
It's no small feat that Masterminds have been able to prevent the full cap this far with how well Blank Blue have been playing. And if they can do it just one more time, they set themselves up for a win that would put them up in the lead of the series, take it to match point. But it's Yuki, the first casualty. Colorhex again, just not getting anything with this Dragon Blade. He was luckily getting top thanks to Candace's Transcendence, but that's now... Oh, no! Oh, Kiki! There was no way for Syme to run to get out of that, beautifully trapping them, and may have just totally saved this point blank. This is not enough members to fight on, no matter how many times they have pulled stuff out when they are so far behind after losing members. That time a 2K from Kiki leaves them with nowhere near enough to continue the fight, and there they have done it. Masterminds have now given themselves, once again, a platform from which to win.
A massive, massive success on that defense right there. It looked like it wasn't going to be the case. It looked like after losing Colorhex, didn't get any kills off the Dragon Blade, it was going to be over. Blank were going to complete that cap, but every time it's been close. And that has been a series on that defense for Masterminds where it has been a nail-biter. Every single fight, Blank Blue nearly cap it out, but they just could not get there. 91 point something percent, I suppose. Just not quite finishing the map, but it is a lot of time still, a lot of progress.
I mean, as crazy as this is to say, I would normally say this of Blank, right? But what's so often happening here with Masterminds is it's the clutch play. It's the clutch play that's really saving their skins here. You know, how many times are we seeing, like, Blank Blue just looking so strong? I mean, like I said, wresting control of the point back from the defender who had been able to otherwise stabilize. That is nigh unheard of. The fact that Masterminds were then able to keep the fight going long enough for some kind of clutch play to come out is nothing short of incredible. That's the caliber of this team right here.
It's just one or two things working for Masterminds, but at the right time. It has to land correctly. It has to hit the mark. It was, of course, the Transcendence rather, coming out of Cantus at the correct time. Sleep Dart once again onto Micro, things like that. And of course, you can't forget the double kill self-destruct out of Kiki, saving the day for Masterminds. But somebody at some point is always saving the day for Masterminds, and that's how they completed that.
I mean, that's the thing. They're letting the fight go up until a point where someone saves the day. I mean, if that is all it takes here, if that's a reliable enough thing for this team to fall back on when fights aren't going well, then, I mean, hey, you might as well, right? Like, if that's your team's strength, then absolutely play to it. And that's what they're doing, and it's paying off.
My question is, when does that run out? When does the superhero juice run out for this team? Because you got to consider all three maps we've seen so far, including half of this map on Hanamura, it seems like Blank have been overall the better team. It seems like Blank have overall been in control. They've gotten more kills. They've had better fights. It's been Masterminds clutching to win those fights, like you've also mentioned, sometimes when they should not be able to win. How long can they continue that for? Do Masterminds suddenly run out of the ability to clutch?
And here's the thing as well. Your ability to clutch on the defense is very different to your ability to clutch on the offense, because on the defense you do have things like the respawn advantage. As much as what Blank were able to do is very good, it is just the nature of Assault that Masterminds get a second chance after that has happened to, again, maybe stabilize on the defense. That is where you get a lot of that extra time for that playmaking potential to come into play. You don't get that on offense. The fight isn't going well out the gate. There are very few situations from which your playmaking potential will turn it around on the defenders.
But you're not seeing that early though, right? Because every single early engagement right at the top of the fights, at the beginning of the game, and maybe we can confirm that once again, once we get back into Blank's own defense, if Blank can continue winning those early engagements, because they've done it consistently pretty much all throughout this series so far. That's been Blank taking control of the match. That's been Blank controlling the tempo of the game, and that's what Masterminds need to get back into their court, because it feels like Masterminds are consistently on the back foot, and they're having to win on the back foot.
Says a lot about both of these teams, I think, and I mean, if nothing else, it goes to show that this series is truly delivering, right? This is two teams really playing to their beats in a lot of ways. I had said that if all teams show up today, then it's Blank Blue that take out not just the semifinal, but the day as a whole. But, I mean, this is Mastermind showing up as well, and maybe there's a world where I have to eat my words here, because Blank, as much as they have been showing up, have still been getting bested by Masterminds in a lot of these fights.
And the thing about that is, and we have to go back to the way the game moves through the phases, right? The early phases of the game, the early game itself, Blank Blue are winning that. But the late phases of the game, the part that actually matters at the end of the day, Masterminds have been winning the majority of those. That's how Masterminds manage to get these miracle defense, these miracle offenses, go back to Hollywood on their attack as well. When the game gets towards the end of an attack or defense phase, Blank Blue just do not have the gas to close it out, and Masterminds start to wrest some of that control back in their corner.
Truth is, though, I do still feel there is another level of play that Blank Blue can reach. Will they reach that? I don't know. The one thing I do know is because they didn't fully cap out, after this half, one of these teams will definitely be at match point.
That's going to be a big lead for either team. You'd think that Blank Blue, the fact that they have such early good starts that they can just close out a match, it will be them. But Masterminds, you start to feel the tables turning, and you might just start to feel the tables turning in the actual series in terms of map score as well.
Maybe that 2-1 lead will be all it takes for Masterminds to truly break Blank Blue. But first they have to break Blank Blue's point A defense. Micro in a bit of trouble here, but able to stay topped off means they can keep matching the pressure, and it's looking like Kiki or maybe Joyboy will actually be the opening casualties here. No God getting wrapped around on Yuki. Has to recall, has to respect the damage, but they've forced Blank Blue back, and now Micro, as he gets dropped, gives Masterminds plenty of space on the point. I think Blank are probably smartest to just back out of here. They go into the tank presence, and not doing so is going to start feeding in a ton of ultimate charge.
You start to see Yuki turn on as well now, collecting a bunch of those early kills, getting the first ultimate of the game. Doesn't even have to use it this time to take that first point cap. And for Masterminds, you see how they just push Blank backwards, aggressive from both teams, but the early damage, especially from Yuki onto Gob, and then Adam getting chunked out, getting demeched as well. Blank just couldn't quite stay in there.
Just looking to get the snowball here. This is all Masterminds are wanting to do. And they've got the ultimates to do it. Blank are going to have to play a big stall game. Adam's already popped out of the picture. Hunter's going down. Micro's got to get a lot of work done. They do at least pop Joy Boy. They've forced Cantor's well back. Micro does go down, but they've just disrupted Masterminds enough that they won't be able to get a snowball off this one. This is Blank just playing to the respawn advantage. Colorhex sticking in this fight for quite a while, but I don't think they can really get too much more from this. The respawns will start to overwhelm Masterminds here. They just haven't had enough kills to justify air blades, but straight to a Transcendence and then slept as well. That is just an ultimate that they don't have for the next fight. Colorhex maybe eating a bit of regret cereal there.
But thankfully at the same time though, he managed to get Unter to get the Transcendence out of there. Blank Blue also felt the pressure. Regret maybe not this time. Blank Blue might be the ones regretting why Transcendence that one. Color Hex probably just going to die anyway, but Blank Blue playing it super safe there. Color Hex though, that was a mistake, turned into something that was okay.
I can respect Blank Blue wanting to use it though, because they are relying on the respawn advantage. They're also relying on their own ability to charge their ultimates very quickly. We'll have to see if that actually comes to pass, whether or not that ends up being a mistake in the long term. Certainly Masterminds presented with an opportunity, but they need to have a better fight than last time, and Color Hex early casualty is meaning it's not looking very likely. They do trade one back, but again, this is where that defender's advantage is a big factor. Even trades are not good enough for the attacker.
Right now, Masterminds, GC, they understand that one, not going to throw any more bodies onto the camp just yet. 5 minutes and 20 seconds remain to get 91.2%. Certainly doable, but we've seen teams fail this already. We've seen Blank Blue on Hollywood, despite having a lot of time not being able to finish the map. Masterminds right now, they have to overcome the defender's advantage. They have to get more trades than Blank the other side.
I think that just barely got eaten. I think Adam was just barely able to flick the Matrix to the sides to eat that pulse bomb. But at any rate, Micro does go down, so here's an opening for Masterminds. Need to convert a few more kills off that, but they're going to need to get a lot of members of Blank, and they're going to need to get them quickly. Adam's going to be able to self-destruct to reset the mech, and in that time, Micro is respawned anyway, so Masterminds no longer have a numbers advantage here. Going to have to start committing ultimates to them if they want to have a chance to close out the fight. Micro just going to duck back into spawn as his Dragon Blade comes up. Brent absolutely respects that a numbers advantage is important. Sign popping Tacky, that was rough. It stuck Cantors, who accidentally floated it into his co-support, and that's given an opportunity here for Micro to get some kills in. Even as Color Hex pulls out his own blade, once again it is to no effect as Blank are continuing to hold.
Well, these are going very even though, right? But even is not good for Masterminds. Both teams are committing ultimates here. Micro got the blade out. Color Hex also used the blade. The issue is Masterminds GC didn't have enough members to finish that map. You were right about that pulse bomb right there, killing Taki despite the Transcendence being there. Guess what? Pulse bomb doesn't care about Transcendence. This is how Blank Blue are able to thread the needle and find picks when it's crucial.
I like this change here. Color Hex onto the Soldier. They're looking to set him up on some kind of high ground, probably along this path that we're seeing just in front of him. What that does is it puts pressure on Blank Blue to dive and dislodge him, but you've also got to respect, Blank have an incredible dive. You already see it there. They pop Taki, got Color Hex as well. They don't mind that these counter trades come in. Once again, defender's advantage, right? Those deaths are effectively not deaths. Blank going to be able to stop that one up.
I want to talk about one other difference here as well. Go back to Blank's own attack here. We were already at 2/3 cap when Blank were at this time of the game, 3 minutes 25. In fact, much earlier, Blank had already got 2/3. Masterminds working on their first third. They need 91.2, but they don't even have 33 yet.
They're almost at the point where they can't even play for thirds anymore. They're going to have to do it all at once or not at all. That's a really tricky situation for Masterminds to be in, especially since they're looking to get the set-up play with the Soldier. That can take a long time to get that one good one, and yeah, Transcendence forced out of Cantors there.
They couldn't make any progress with that. Taki dies straight away afterwards. Micro now converting onto Yuki. This is an issue for Masterminds GC. When you ult, you have to be able to commit. Otherwise, don't ult. Let Color Hex die. Reset, because Masterminds, guess what? They reset anyway. This time, though, without one ultimate.
And that was as they were choosing to pull back. Micro went in because Frogger had already committed an ultimate. Like you said, exactly what Masterminds failed to do, commit an ultimate and go in. Blank did. They were like, all right, well, they're pulling back, but we've still committed this ultimate. Let's make it worth our while.
And now, guess what? Candace cannot counter Micro out. So one of the ways they shut down Micro, well, that one goes out the door. And Blank Blue, they got to understand this one. Blank Blue should feel like they have the advantage.
Again, this dive is really quick and decisive out of Blank. They're constantly just beating Masterminds back. And Masterminds, their team comp does rely on being able to set Color Hex up. Yeah, Simon's a bit of trouble here. That's not where he wanted to blink back to. Does end up going down. That's costly. This is a window now for Masterminds. And there they go, quick into it. They use the time to set up, but that is such a quick dive in. Good block. Color Hex gets Micro, though, who was trying to get some work done with the blade. Adam will not re-mech, will not get anything with the self-destruct either. This is the setup that Masterminds needed. Gob, he's alone on the point. Discord orbs down on him. Not quite able to pull back. The sightlines are still there. Color Hex and Candace now untouchable, as Gob and Adam will not be able to pull out any kind of concerted dive here. This should at least be a third before Blank Blue have respawned enough to dislodge what is currently winning the fight for Masterminds, and that is Color Hex set up on this high ground with Candace sat beside him in the pocket, who now has a Transcendence that he can commit to the point, as it was looking like Blank were about to start dislodging Masterminds. Color Hex is just going off, untouchable up here like a Fabergé egg in an art museum. You can't get this man. And Blank Blue, they are no Ocean 6. They can't pull off the heist. Slowly trying to beat back the tide now, but they've still got to dislodge Color Hex at some point.
I gotta change my mind right now. I said Frogger might be the MVP here, but I think it actually might just be Kiki.
Goes down.
Kills coming through.
Another tactical visor, could you believe it? And that stick onto Adam as he was already demeching was gorgeous. Man, he went down the first time that entire fight where Blank were about to get both of their tanks back into the mix after initially dying. That was all from Signed getting picked onward. That was the window that Masterminds used to set up Color Hex. That was the position they used to kill the tanks of Blank and stop any dive from dislodging Color Hex. And from there, it was just keeping Blank in a situation where they could not stop Masterminds' win condition.
Wow, what an incredible game. We talked about it in the last series, how when you get that soldier up there on the second point of Hanamura, so often if you can't get rid of him, he just damage all day long, and that's precisely what we saw there. What turned from a Blank Blue 1-0 up at the start of this semi-final now sees them 2-1 down in the deficit, and Masterminds are in the lead. Xenox, this is pretty good.
It is pretty good, but how good was Color Hex there at the end? He was the biggest factor for Masterminds being able to take that point, not only take it, but then obviously go on to win by getting that point.
I want to talk about Kiki actually. Like, let's forget about Color Hex for a moment. That was good. That was only good because of what Kiki did. Let's take, for example, the one specific play that actually won Masterminds that game. Right then, it was Gob jumping with the Primal Rage as Kiki was about, as Color Hex actually used the visor. Look, Color Hex was about to get pressured by Gob. Guess what? Kiki boops him in the face. Gob loses that jump. Gob has to stay on the ground. He's grounded by the other members. Suddenly, Color Hex is free to do what he wants. That is why Color Hex popped off. That is how they won. If it had been the other way around and Gob got onto Color Hex, this would have been a blank victory. Kiki won that one for them, hands down.
Exactly. It's not just that window initially and being able to get into that position. You're quite right. It's actually the execution as a whole. I mean, so many teams can have that kind of window but not quite get that same conversion. I mean, without wanting to name names too harshly here, Masterminds did exactly what Darkside were unable to do when they played Hanamura and pulled out the soldier. So that's what it looks like when it's done right, but you're quite right. That's what needs to be done to make sure that it works right.
Feels to me like Pixie's got Easter on the brain, Fabergé egg, execution, but for me it's more like Christmas because, boys and girls, these games have been intense. For me, this game was really going to be about, can Masterminds turn up to Blank Blue, or are Blank Blue just going to show us how good they are with their individual skills? And Xenox, it's clear to me that these two teams are really on par. They are going head-to-head. There's a very good chance this goes all the way to Oasis.
There is a very good chance, but there's also probably a very good chance that Masterminds could just win the next map and then it's over 3-1. Because Blank Blue, they're a young roster. I know they've got a lot of potential, and I know they've done well on LAN before, but it could be the case of we won the first map, but now we've lost 2 in a row, and the tilt could set in. So they need to make sure that they do their job, not get distracted, not get upset with that. Don't get upset. There's still plenty of games here to go, so they can't And for Masterminds, they can't rest on their laurels either. They've got to keep going.
That's exactly what we say about Blank, right? It's not so much that they're a momentum-oriented team, it's that a lack thereof is essentially a death knell for them.
Yeah.
And that was the real threat here. Masterminds now being 2-1 up in the series, I think it becomes more likely we get a 3-1 to Masterminds than a 3-2 reverse sweep to Blank.
You also have to consider here right now that Blank have to remember that they have been in control of most of these games. Despite losing the last 2 maps, they were actually ahead. All these maps have been winnable for Blank Blue. They lost these maps due to some critical errors, some also errors that Masterminds exploited as well, but at no point were Blank truly ever on the back foot. Even the game-winning play for Masterminds, that could have been the other way around had Kiki maybe not have made that play or had Gob just landed on top of Color Hex. The margins are so close, but Blank Blue have been usually ahead.
It's interesting how we talk about that because so often the conversation has been, well, it's the individual plays of Blank Blue that get them across the line. You only need 1 or 2 people popping off, and that's enough to win you those crucial battles. In this situation, it's Masterminds who are winning those crucial battles with individual play. And I guess the other thing here is we do, look at these guys. Look, we talk about getting tilted, but it looks to me like they're having fun. We had a chat to them the other day, and for them, this is a lot of this is about fun, right? They don't necessarily like scrimming if they're losing. I know that sounds simple, right? I don't like to scrim if I'm losing, but it's boring. They don't want to do it too often. So for them, they want to come back and have fun. They want to be winning. I know that sounds pretty simple and pretty well. Of course you want to be winning. For these guys, I think it is about having fun.
Well, it's funny, actually, because maybe that's one of the takeaways they got from their week scrimming against Blank Esports. They were very upfront. Like, they lost about 90% of those. But that was scheduled scrim blocks across time zones. Like, they had to keep playing, even though they were losing. Maybe that's actually what they learned. Maybe they learned how to preserve mentality in the face of loss. And I think that could actually be one of the most important things for this young team to have learned coming into this LAN.
It is a crucial skill, something you need to learn at some point in your life, whether it's at work, at school, playing sport, playing video games, whatever it needs to be. You need to learn how to lose and to progress for and not let that be the thing that stops you in your tracks. Right now, though, as you said, Xenox, the guys from Masterminds, on the other hand, they are only 1 map away from locking themselves in the grand final.
They are, and I think that, one of the things that, as Avril pointed out, the Color Hex, tactical fire was good. He got the kills, but it was also way before that was the transcendence from Candace to get onto the point when Joyboy was very low. He could have died. He pretty much took the honors to get down there, keep him alive, knowing that Kiki was about to come back, knowing then that if he was able to keep Joyboy alive with that transcendence, they have the numbers advantage. Color Hex is up top by himself, and it just sort of set everything in motion. So it was like a lot of individual plays, but it still ended up as a big team play by the end.
Well, we're going to jump into the next map very, very shortly. It is Blank's pick. From my stats, I saw that Blank were like 5 from 5 on Dorado. So let's go and take a look at whether Dorado is the map we're going to see, whether I'm going to have fun on Junkertown. No real surprises, I suppose. Avril going into this now. Do Blank pick this up? This is the map they picked. It's a map they've been doing well with all season long. What do you think?
This is when the micro highlight reel really starts, right? You go back to the early games of Blank during the season. Micro had insane plays on this map. This is definitely a big map for Blank Blue here. Look at the picks that can come out here. Sign can pick the Widow again. He's been pretty good on that so far. Micro can play a bunch of things. The Sombra could come back. I know that would make Pixie happy.
Yeah.
And I think for Masterminds as well, they're going to have to be very careful because it does just still feel like they're winning from the back foot instead of being in charge.
And I feel like if there is even, after all we've said, some still risk of Blank, I don't want to use the word tilted, but maybe like having to reset the mentality, the win record on Dorado can often have a bit of a placebo in that, right? It's like, you can kind of forget that if you lose this, you lose the whole thing. It's like, oh, we get to go to Dorado. We win Dorado all the time, guys. That's fine. You take a deep breath, suddenly your head is right in the game, and you hit those beats like you normally do, and I think that means that the pressure is still on Masterminds, even though they are actually the ones at match point right now.
I think that I need Adam to stand up a little bit here. Micro's been getting kills. Frogger was actually really amazing on Hanamura, the way he was able to stay alive and keep his team in it in those team fights. But just want to see a little bit more from Adam. I think that he's got that potential. There's a lot of hype around Adam as being pretty much almost the best flex tank in Australia at what, 14, 15, you know? And so I want to see him maybe just stand up a bit more and really put his authority and his stamp on this game. And Dorado is a map that he can definitely do that on. And as it's been mentioned, that they really should be winning this and tie the series back up again.
Going back down the line, Xenox, do Blank Blue win Dorado?
I think they do. At this point, I think this is going to tie it up.
Pixie?
Be very inclined to agree.
I'd say they are expected to, and if they don't, it would be an upset.
Well, I'm already upset.
I'm not even through the day yet.
Yeah, I can't be upset. I mean, this is another phenomenal semi-final. I'm actually the opposite of upset. I'm chuffed as a bucket right now.
Down set.
Yeah, I'm down set after a great. Or maybe I'm up disorganized. I'm a great first semi-final. What's already looking to be a great second semi-final. Masterminds matching this year. Widowmaker going to have to abandon that early position there.
A lot of respect going on to Sign as well. Look, he's been a pretty good Widow so far into this series, and the duel versus Color Hex is going to be the one to watch. Of course, Micro onto the sidelines. How Blank Blue approach Color Hex, who's going to be on that back wall, that's going to be very important for giving Blank Blue an edge.
Just slowly working their way around, trying to push into the courtyard. Kiki getting low. Gonna have to pull back. Heal that one up, but it gives a lot of space. Now this is where that Widow is a real factor. If Color Hex gets too much space, keeps too many tabs on Sign, then Masterminds can absolutely just dig in. But the moment Color Hex is dislodged, there's a window for Blank.
Look at the tank distance, so well, the tank and the card distance so far due to the tanks. The fact that Blank Blue have just pushed in now, but they're losing members.
Yeah, there it goes. Adam loses the mech, and Color Hex does get that headshot they've been needing so far on Sign, and that's exactly what it takes there for Masterminds to secure some kind of hold. Blank, they can't let that happen twice. They can't lose too much time on what is only the courtyard.
Now we've seen Hanamura, we've also now seen on this very opening fight at Dorado, it's actually Masterminds starting to win those early engagements because they're winning them. Look at Taki, look at Color Hex and Yuki, about to hit the ultimates, especially the Emperor Sign and Color Hex. That's going to give them a huge edge over Sign in this duel.
That being said, you see Micro coming up on a Dragon Blade here. You do see Blank soon to rotate into some key ultimates. Masterminds do have a number of their own, but it's going to be pretty just sort of 1-and-1 in this fight. Yeah, the stick did come through, but no conversion. So Blank able to charge up some more ultimates. They popped the Valkyrie though. They're going in.
They need some space to be made here, especially for Micro, who does want to play it in. Doesn't find any kills yet, and responded by the Transcendence.
I mean, this is so rough. He's just standing in the middle of nowhere, looking like an idiot, because immediately can just use the Transcendence. Taki just flew up into the air. There were no targets. Color Hex dropped down to the far side. Nowhere for him to go, and while he was standing there doing nothing, other members died. That is about as bad as it could have gone for Blank.
But it's not that bad because he forced out 2 support ultimates for the price of 1 blade. Actually, I'll take that trade because now you go into the next fight. You got a couple ultimates ahead. Hunter's about to hit that Transcendence. These support ultimates could be the driving force of Blank to get this card across the line. The problem is the card is slipping backwards. That's the real factor for Blank. I'll trade the blade for 2 support ultimates. That's okay for Micro.
Yeah, the only unfortunate thing is they had popped the Valkyrie early in that fight when God got stuck because they didn't want to risk him dying. But because it was early enough, they're going to be coming up on that long before Taki is even close to him. So there we go. Blank able to get the opening pick this time around. Instantly popping into the Primal Rage as well. Joyboy, yeah, he has matched, and Yuki gets res. So you see now Joyboy trying to get busy on the back line. Gob trying to do the same. Oh, not quite a quick enough rescue there from Unter. There's going to have to be a res in. Taki does go down. Kiki, though,
again
doing what Kiki do, and Candace able to get Micro as well. Blank, they might not even break this courtyard.
It's disgusting from the Flex Tank play on the Mastermind side. Time and time again, when it looks like Blank Blue are getting the edge, Kiki does something crazy with it. Shutting down Gob just when Gob was about to shut down Color Hex, or if it's Kiki landing a huge bomb, killing 2 players, killing more than that, something is happening, and Masterminds are just living by the skin of their teeth multiple times in a row, and suddenly it does look like it's starting to shift here. Blank Blue, they were on the front foot, now they look like they're on the back foot.
I like the swap from Signs. He got a headshot on Color Hex and went, okay, now I'm going to play something that plays more of the ground game before Color Hex is back in. Unfortunately, though, they lost Frogger early. They're going to have to get a lot of kills. They're going to have to get them fast. Candace clutch Transcendence, saving the day there as Micro went in. He did not have that when they're over now. Adam, though, does get Color Hex the second time around. They need to get more. They need to pop some of these tanks. They've got Kiki out of the mech. They need to finish off Joyboy now while Yuki is on the long walk back. And it's looking like they have at last got this. That was really touch and go there for Blank. If they hadn't have broken that courtyard, I guarantee they would have lost to Rado. It's not quite over yet, but they have got the ground control. Joyboy gonna stick in this one, but with that Discord Ord on him, he can't get healed up enough by Taki. Blank have got control of the card. This is starting to become a stagger in for Masterminds that's going to give Blank a lot of snowball potential through the streets phase now.
Very important kill by Micro onto Taki to prevent the res from coming on through. This time around, Kiki has no there's nothing to really stop Blank Blue. One kill to Micro, gets res up right back away. Masterminds committed at least 4 ultimates into that fight. Kiki, Taki, Color Hicks, and Joy Boy all used ultimates, and they still lost that fight. Now Blank Blue get the huge snowball. Now they got the ultimates for themselves. Micro about to hit the blade as well. Masterminds got to be feeling the pressure of that fight loss.
I mean, for how close it nearly came to being a full hold, I think Masterminds maybe got dollar bills in their eyes. I think they could have done the more disciplined thing and just let that go, because instead they've given themselves a really tough place on the streets phase, while Blank have just earned themselves a real shot on Dorado here. Stick onto Joy Boy. He's healed up. He's going to be just fine. But now Adam fresh out, going to have to use a self-destruct to reset the mech. But in that time, Gob and Micro going forward with these ultimates that they've been able to bank up. They get the kills. This is going to give them space for the card as well. Should be able to round this corner into the courtyard. And from there, they really have a springboard to push into C.
And that is a quintessential example of the fact that ultimates, sometimes if they don't get kills, it doesn't matter. It's what you do with that ultimates despite not getting that kill. Look at that pulse bomb. It chunked down Joy Boy. Yes, he was being healed back up, but no, he could not do anything else. He could not dive. He could not respond. Blank Blue see that. Micro jumps in. Joy Boy's just sitting there like, I'm still low.
And Blank, they don't have too much to go on here, but what they do have is those support ultimates. Yuki very low there. If Hunter can just land this right, and there it is. I'd say that's about right. Stein looking to get a wrap around on the side, and Frogger has popped that Valkyrie as well. They need to get the conversion. Joy Boy a little bit separated out, might not be able to make it back in time. Diving back, but that leaves Masterminds a little split. Now you see the rest of Blank looking to play the ground game to take advantage of that, but no, it is Masterminds who are able to divide and conquer as Blank kind of split their focus to try and chase down the different parts of Mastermind. Instead of just going after one and then the next and then the next, they split themselves up. Masterminds take advantage.
Blank Blue, they have a little bit of time to go for that reset. If they lose another fight, that's going to be it. This cart will stop. Where they have ended is where they will need to defend. Masterminds now about to come back online with a couple more ults, Valkyrie and also Primal Rage from Joy Boy. Blank Blue starting to run out of these resources right now. Kiki might not have to be the one to carry if his other teammates can also get these ults.
That all being said, Blank could just do to Masterminds what Masterminds did to them on Hollywood here. They could just end up getting it over the line right at the 11th hour here and get a lot more distance than they really should have. Good pressure onto Color Hex, but Gob's the first casualty. Micro's in trouble as he's trying to get work done with the Dragon Blade. Does get Color Hex at long last. Trying to get Taki out of the skies, doesn't get it. Adam's pop, they've got no tank. Stein is dead. Micro, he can't do anything more than that. He's going to go down here before too long, I think. He's only got one Dragon Blade at his disposal and it's already gone. Unfortunately, Blank losing the tanks is a death knell. And 89.85 is as far as they'll go. Once again, extremely winnable position here for Masterminds.
And the early picks from Masterminds are doing so much work as well right there. You see Gob going down quite early. Micro tries to respond, eventually gets Color Hex, but it takes so long to do that. Most of his ult was just used on Color Hex, tried to use the last dash to get up to Taki, but Taki's already too far away. That could have been different if you kill Color Hex a little bit earlier. Taki doesn't quite have the distance to get away just yet. That goes into his second kill. Micro then maybe dashes onto his third kill. Instead, you have on the other side, Taki living. Cantus picks up 2 kills as well. The supports are really turning up for Masterminds right now.
When you talk about a game of inches, right? That's exactly them. It's things like that. It's things like, you know, on Hanamura, Kiki able to get that extra protection on Color Hex. It's those tiny little things, and Masterminds have got so many of them. They've got enough that they've been able to turn really tough situations into winnable situations. And every time I've said that about this team, every time I've said, thanks to that, they now have a winnable situation, they have gone on to win. I say again, this is a winnable situation for Masterminds. They've done the groundwork. It's all about reaping what they've sowed here, and it would put them through to the finals.
And I've also said that Blank Blue have been on the front foot most of the series. 3 maps in a row. It felt like all those 3 should all have been Blank Blue victories. This would already be in 3-0. Instead, we're at 2-1, potentially a 3-1 for Masterminds. For the first time opening on Dorado, it feels like Masterminds are in charge. It feels like Blank Blue are the ones that are a little bit lost now. It feels like Blank Blue are the ones finding their feet. That's not something they've had this entire series.
And for everything we've said about Blank, for all the potential of this team and even how good they are looking, even just now when I would say they're not quite firing on all cylinders, when, if ever, are they going to prove us right? When are they going to show this skill, this aptitude that we know and they know they have? Because if it isn't here, then it's nowhere. They'll be out of chances after this. It's got to happen now.
Be interesting to see how Yuki utilizes this Junkrat play as well. Of course, he's got some difficult targets to engage. Sign is going to be very far away. Sign is going to be the most important hero for him. Yuki now changing onto that Tracer going into this first opening attack, and I'd like to see what kind of plays Blank Blue are going to have here. Can they get aggressive early, take control of that card?
Looking for an angle in here is Color Hex. If he can get a catch on signed or something, or even just the right kind of pick, cracks open the courtyard. And I would say, realistically speaking, Blank kind of need to hold at the courtyard in order to get the, to hold out this map altogether, and there it is. They get the catch on signed. Joyboy was low, but now he's been topped off, and that means Blank's dive in has been a little unsuccessful. They've also got to respect potential headshots. Speaking of, it's a body shot, but hey, you'll take it. They're going to crack the courtyard off that. Remember how long it took Blank to do this exact same thing, and here Mastermind's doing it in one fell swoop.
You're about to potentially see the fall of Blank here. This is a lot of time for Masterminds and not a lot of distance. They have 5 minutes 25. Blank need to utilize every single meter, every single second to make this defense count. And so far, Masterminds already taking high ground advantage here. This is where Blank Blue want to be on the defense. Masterminds have already taken this position. Yuki already with the kill onto Hunter. Blank Blue, what is going on?
That could be the stick right there. I mean, Hunter is going to get raised back into this, but this is time that Masterminds are just spending sat on this high ground.
Blank got to attack the opposition.
Yeah, they have to dislodge Masterminds first from this high ground before they can even think about fighting on the cart. And Masterminds aren't going to give it up quickly. Joyboy, though, chunked out. That is what they need. Here we go. Maybe this is Adam's moment at long last, like Xenox was saying. At the very least, they've dislodged Masterminds, who do have to pull back from that position, and they popped a Valkyrie to do so. Oh, hello.
There it is. Sign gets his revenge kill onto Color Hex as well. It's been a while now since Sign has really seen some kills light up. It does get rezzed in, so Masterminds GC, they get to reset that fight very quickly. 4 minutes now, 25, 1 minute off the clock. Blank, they have 5 minutes to get off that clock before they're safe.
That's a funky pass from Yuki, and it may have just gotten the drop here on some of these members, or maybe Micro's got the drop on everyone else. It's certainly looking like
that
that's
looks like
the
a
case.
drop.
Yeah, that's a drop indeed.
That's the kind of blade you want to see out of Micro, because
Yeah.
so far we've seen him get shut down, but when he really gets the chance to go off, that is what it kind of looks like. It's not even the biggest Micro blade we've seen. Blank, they got to keep inching along. Every small victory they can take, again, every meter, every single second, they have to be winning right now.
And if they can continue getting low economy fights like that, stay ahead in the macro game, then they give themselves the situation to win from. Just as I said for Masterminds, this is what Blank's win condition's got to be, and here it goes in. They're going to be committing the Transcendence and the Primal Rage to this one, and so far it's getting some conversion. They've already got a headshot on Color Hex now as well. Candace is on the wrong side of this. He's going to go down. This is what Blank need to do.
Well, we also need to see Blank utilize, or rather force out some ultimates out of Masterminds GC. We talk about economy here. 3 minutes and 18 seconds remaining. Masterminds get to save up. They get to bank up these ultimates. Let Blank use the ultimates first. Blank are the ones pressured to have to commit to every single fight. Masterminds can just play this safely right now. Go for the Doom push. Save 5 ults. Save 6 ults maybe. That's when Masterminds can just get a straight win.
The unfortunate thing, though, is with the position of the cart, Masterminds will need to do that and then a little bit more. They can't just bank up a few ultimates, have no time left, get the one big fight, and then get stopped up in the subsequent fight.
Here comes
before
Adam.
they're capped out. Here's Adam in with the self-destruct. Color Hex goes down to the dive on Gob, and Gob may be able to get out of it alive as well. Candace has popped in Transcendence to keep his team in the fight. Res on Color Hex, numbers advantage for them now. Color Hex looking to get quick conversion. Ooh, not quite catching the shot on to Frogger. Blank Blue, they need to find a place to dig in their heels because Masterminds have got the cart back underway.
Yeah, they better dig in fast because right now the cart is about to move. Already losing Micro, that's a big problem.
These are the ultimates that Masterminds had banked up. Under's dead as well. And, able to get back into a Micro. He's got Taki. Looking for Candace, should be able to close out on him. Not quite threading the needle to get those shots there. Man, Blank couldn't have picked a later second, but that might have just been enough digging in for now. They've been able to get Gob back in this one. Kiki going to throw out a self-destruct, but he can't convert off it. Joyboy going down as well, just keeping the tank line down. Masterminds can't quite reset quickly enough. They're getting a lot of extra work done. Oh no, Micro going down. Hold on. I was going to say, I think Blank can stabilize off that, but maybe not so much. Finally got Kiki out of the picture here. They need to drive back Yuki though, and they're probably going to have to kill Joyboy a second time if they don't kill these DPSs of Mastermind quickly enough.
And I think Masterminds are finally realizing they can't do it off this fight, and finally, economically, Blank Blue have themselves ahead. Masterminds really started to throw ults into that one. They got very close. Blank actually can't afford another fight loss here. They will lose the map. They will lose the series if they cannot complete this hold. 1 minute 25. Mastermind's got a couple fights in there.
And it's not just about winning one fight. They've actually got to win another one. Adam, that's a quick drop. He may not be able to get back in the mech. No, he is going to be rescued by Unter. Had to commit the self-destruct there, as well as the Transcendence. What that actually means for Blank is that was expensive. That's all Masterminds wanted to do. They've got time for another fight. Blank have been bled dry.
Blank, though, about to get 2 ultimates here. Frogger going onto the Mercy. I think that's correct from Frogger, because what you have to consider now is the res becomes so important. Color Hex has already given up onto the Widowmaker, gone onto the Genji for a couple of fights now, actually, and Masterminds, they need ults. Masterminds got to stall out the fights. If Masterminds can drag the fights out, that's when Cantus gets an ult, that's when Joyboy gets an ult. Blank Blue, they got to end it early.
Micro's got to add another one to his highlights reel here, otherwise I don't see Blank going to the finals. It is that simple, and he's going to have to do it through a Transcendence from Cantus. Signed, unfortunately, did not connect with his Pulse Bomb. Got some trouble here. Needs to be able to pull back. Cantus with that Transcendence to counter out Micro. He's down to Color Hex. He couldn't get anything. Adam's low. Gob is low. Where's the tank presence from Blank? It's not there. They're all dead. They're dropping like flies on the point, and Color Hex, he says, no, my highlight reel, my Dragon Blade, my 5K, my finals. Masterminds are going to take on the Sydney Drop Bears.
What an incredible victory. After losing on control, they brought it back. They were 2-1 down. They went 3-2, 2-1, 2-1. Masterminds through to the grand final, taking on the Sydney Drop Bears, taking down Blank Blue, tanking down the team who's been playing against the top team in the region, getting all that insight, getting all that expertise. They had the skills, but at the end of the day, Xenox, they were not strong enough. Masterminds just too good.
And throwing it back to what AVRL said, that it would have been an upset, and that's what it is. It's an upset. It should have been Blank Blue tying the series up, and it was so close even towards the end, even though they weren't even able to get the second checkpoint, and yet it was still so close. But Masterminds, you've got to give them credit. A lot of the teams didn't feel like they would be able to beat Blank Blue. Some on the desk didn't think they would be able to beat Blank Blue. I said they would in 3-2. They did it in 3-1, and that goes to show why this team really shouldn't be underestimated.
And it felt to me like they were drawing power. Like every time Masterminds won, they got a little bit stronger, a little bit stronger. You could hear them yelling across the room, even without microphones right next to them. I suspect you could pick them up through ours. It was so close, and they were just drawing this power, getting stronger and stronger. And AVRL, well, at the end of the day, they've come through on top. They made it through to the grand final, and now they get this repeat up against the Drop Bears, a team who at the start of the season we said Drop Bears, wow, look at them. They're destroying everyone. They played a lot of games a little bit earlier on in the season, and that gave us an opportunity to see so much of what they can do. But in the end, they went up against Masterminds, and Masterminds destroyed them. Now, that's our repeat. That's what we're getting for this final. That is huge.
That's a big win for Masterminds, right? Because a lot of people did not expect them. I did not expect them to be able to get this victory. Most of the players, most of the teams did not expect Masterminds to make it this far. Masterminds had a lot of questions about this team, right? Roster changes. How are they going to gel back together? They looked very shaky going into the playoffs. The only quarterfinal team to actually drop a map going into the semifinals. But I think Masterminds, they get to prove themselves today. They haven't quite finish that journey yet, because we've still got one more match for this team to go, but really unfortunate for the Blank organization. 2 teams in 2 regions could not get a win on either.
It's interesting you mentioned actually that that map dropped in that quarterfinal, because actually Taki spoke of that just before the match itself, speaking to DK. He said, yeah, that was a wake-up call. That was a kick in the pants. And, I mean, evidently a needed one, but an effective one. I mean, the 3-1, none of us considered that it would actually just be a 3-1. We all thought it would be a full 5 and quite probably go the way of Blank. So, in a sense, we're all wrong, and I think that really establishes... Sure. You can hold on to that one, Ben. But with respect to that, I think that now makes actually Masterminds the scariest team coming into this finals. For all of what we say about Sydney Drop Bears, that was the truly unexpected result of the day.
Absolutely. Xenox coming into this, there's so much to take away from it, so much that's occurred so far. For you now, what's this matchup of Masterminds and Drop Bears looking like?
You know, I think that the 4-0 probably won't repeat. I don't think we're going to see a 4-0. Even though I predict Mastermind, guys, I don't think we'll see that 4-0. Sydney Drop Bears will have learnt from that. They will have improved, and obviously coming off the win in their semi-final, they'll be still full of confidence, won't they? So, I mean, I think Masterminds would still take it. It remains to be seen how close it will be. That's the hard predictor, isn't it?
If you think a one-map loss to Kanga in the quarterfinals is a kick in the pants for Masterminds. You better believe an 0-4 loss in the regular season from Drop Bears onto Masterminds is a big wake-up call for that team. And you've already seen how woke they are this morning.
Well, it's been a pretty tight day so far. Some incredible games, some incredible plays, particularly in that matchup, Xenox. What was our Macca's play of the game?
Well, it's got to be Color Hex and from Masterminds with a little bit of Cantus. So in the end, a bit of a team play. You can see Cantus comes in with a Transcendence. It saves Joyboy knowing that Kiki was going to come back. But Color Hex, look at him by himself at the top. He's able to then build up the tactical visor, but while he's building it up, he's getting kills. Kills Micro, takes out Gob. He's able to control the stream of Blank Blue players as they come out, and you can see up to 88%, and it's completely allowed all those Mastermind players at the bottom to come back in, gets that tactical visor, and he's just going to clean and mow down the rest of Blank Blue. They confirm the point, and they eventually go on to win Hanamura. And obviously, in the end, as we now know, they went on to go and win the whole series.
They did some really great decision-making there from all of the players there on Masterminds. But overall, an incredible series. I don't even know where to go from here. That's like, so far, these games have been almost too much. So I think we're going to have to take a deep breath moving into the grand final. Pixie, I want to talk to you now. What's next for Blank Blue here?
Well, I suppose you got to go away and lose a bit more to Blank Esports. I mean, in all seriousness, you actually saw them after that. Like, they had smiles on their faces, man. Like, they accept that they lost that match for good reason. It's because they weren't playing as good as they could have. And I did say if every team showed up, it would be Blank Blue taking out the win. And I honestly do think a lot of these teams did show up, except for Blank Blue. And it doesn't mean to say they didn't show up at all. What they clearly learned from last week was extra consistency, where previously it hadn't existed. What they didn't hit today was that peak. So compliments to them, because they have learned a lot in that time. It just wasn't enough to take out the finals. It was like, hey, here's extra. Here's rounding out our team. Yeah, they're going to need to do a little bit more, though.
And the thing is, look, if any team's going to lose and come away from it with something positive, I think it's Blank, because when you say the average age is 17, the median age's like probably 15 or something ridiculous. Like, these guys have so much room to grow. Already they're very, very talented, and just that little bit more will get them across the line. But some sick plays coming out from Color Hex today. We saw him there on Soldier on Hanamura. Let's see what he's got to say to DK.
Thank you very much, Sandman. And I'm starting to actually feel what you're feeling. A lot of Kiwis on the desk, and I'm here with me now. I feel a little bit lightheaded. There's too much New Zealand in the room. But Color Hex, great performance, mate. You said you're a little bit jittery, so forgive you. How are you feeling exactly after that match?
I'm ecstatic. I'm like, pretty out of it, to be honest. Yeah. I'm not really that happy with how I performed, honestly. I felt like the Blank Blue game plan was to shut me down pretty hard. But I'm glad my team pulled through pretty hard. Absolutely.
So Blank Blue, I mean, the desk mentioned, a lot of people mentioned they can be extremely dangerous on their best day. Was it what you expected from them as an opponent, or did they not quite have it, or you guys just brought it a little bit more on the day?
I felt we brought a little bit better macro play in terms of just the ult economy and stuff, which is like what we rode off and won on. Because they would invest ults into fights, like a lot of ults into fights, and try to win it. And we just banked ults and just won it there.
Absolutely. Now, I was speaking to you just briefly about taking on the Sydney Drop Bears, and you have a history with them, but you said you're a little bit weary, and that first match doesn't really have too much weight on this grand final coming up next.
Not at all. Drop Bears have gotten a lot better since our first match together with them. But I'm pretty confident I can play better there than just now in the DPS matchup with old Jordation. But yeah. It should be close, though. All the teams are really close.
A lot of good friends on that Drop Bears lineup?
Yeah, I'd say so.
And you said just a little bit of inside information, just the way you scrim and stuff there. Actually, you know, kind of the insider pro gamer favourites.
Yeah, Drop Bears are looking really good. That's all I'll say.
Well, absolutely. We'll find out who wins in the grand final coming up on the other side of this break.